Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Emily. I am a moderate severe functional special education teacher here in Horry County in South Carolina. I was so honored to win the Gary Bates Memorial Award this year. I was able to go to Salt Lake City and go to the CASE conference. It was an awesome time, and my favorite part was I got to sit around a table with other educators and other people who work in special ed in all different capacities, and I was able to tell them all about Project Discovery and everything that I like about it, and how amazing it is, because it's really made a huge difference for my students, especially as far as the hands-on materials, which we all know is crucial for our kiddos. So, and you'll see throughout this presentation, I'll mention Project Discovery multiple times and how I used that curriculum to really teach the core skills to my students here at school, and they were able to transfer that knowledge into the community. So I'm going to be talking about career readiness for my transition students. For reference, I teach students that are 14 to 21 years old. So there's a wide range there. We really try to break the program up, and I'll take you through that whole process of, when I get a student when they're 14 all the way until they're 21. And of course, everybody that works with these students, really our number one goal is ensuring student success, whatever that may be. So it could be independent living and independent working to assisted living and working with some assistance as well. So we are going to go through talking about the school-based learning that we do for our students that are a little bit younger. And then we also have a school-based enterprise that's really fun, and most of my students participate in that activity. We'll talk a little bit about our work-based learning that's out in the community, which is a program that I've built here at the school that I teach at, my very first year when I started. And when we got Project Discovery in our district, that was a game changer. We were able to add more community sites because my students were learning more skills with hands-on materials in the classroom. And then last, we're going to tie it all together and talk about how we can take all of the knowledge that we're gaining, all the data that we're taking from our school-based learning and our school enterprise and our work-based learning, and really apply it to the IEP to make it functional for everybody. So just for reference, that picture at the top there is some of my students wearing our Java Jaws shirt, which is our school-based enterprise that I'll talk about in a little bit. Those are what we wear when we're making and delivering. And then on the bottom there, that's one of my students working at a car wash. So I'm going to start off by talking about school-based learning. So when students come up from the middle school to the high school, they usually aren't used to having that much independence. So our very first thing we do is start by giving them a little bit of independence, and we recycle around the school. We recycle paper. In South Carolina, we don't really recycle cans and things like that at school, but we do recycle paper. So we usually do that activity for about 1 hour, 2 times a week. So the teachers place their recycling bins right outside of their classroom doors, and we come and we get the big push trash cans, we push them around the school, and we pick up the bins and dump them in the big trash can. After our collection, we take the big push trash cans and we push them outside. So during this activity, we are learning social skills. We're walking around and saying hello to people in the hallway. The students are talking to their same aged peers. We're also communicating with, assistant principals that we might see, as well as teachers. We're knocking on the classroom doors. If their recycling isn't placed outside, we'll, knock on the door, ask them if they need us to take their recycling. Also, a really big skill that we're working on during this activity is self-determination and motivation. That is kind of the foundation for all of these functional and work skills. So we're building the foundation with self-determination and motivation that's going to be necessary in the future for the students to continue throughout this process and participate in the other transition activities that we have available. I can see the students start to believe in themselves, start to gain confidence, but they're comfortable in the school environment. So they're able to build that confidence and really start believing that they can do things that are important. They can practice these job skills, but still kind of be in their safe space. They're also working on fine and gross motor skills. There are so many motor skills involved in this activity. There's walking, pushing, opening the lid to the trash can, bending over, picking up the recycling bin. And I love to have OT, PT, and speech come and collaborate during these activities for the students. I know we have, I think, a physical therapist here, so that makes me excited because really bringing in the related service providers makes it so meaningful. And you don't have to feel like you're by yourself as a teacher or an administrator that's trying to start these programs at your school. It really is a whole team effort, and that's what makes it work, is when the PT is excited, they can come and observe the student, they can provide support during these activities. The OT can come, they can, do their therapies during this time, really make it functional. Especially once a student is in high school, it's important to make those skills functional. We're also working on independence. So after a while of practicing this activity, we usually break off into groups and do different sections of the school. So certain groups of students start to go off by themselves, or the teacher or paraprofessional will stand at the end of the hallway and will say, okay, we're going to be here. You go ahead and, do this hallway. You got this. We're encouraging them to be independent. And once they do that, we just slowly pull those supports away and really watch the students feel encouraged and feel independent and supported in these activities. So a lot of our younger students really haven't been given an opportunity to be independent at a vocational task when they're doing these recycling activities. So it's their first kind of experience working on these vocational skills that they haven't practiced yet. So that's our school-based learning. And then our next kind of step up in the tiers of becoming independent is our school-based enterprise. So our school's mascot is the sharks. We live at the beach in South Carolina. So we call our business Java Jaws. So we have a coffee cart. The coffee cart provides leadership opportunities, training in a safe environment. So, they're supported as much as they need, but they are encouraged to be as independent as possible. And it is connecting both academic and vocational tasks. We usually do it on Friday mornings, and my students just get so excited. They can't wait to put that Java Jaws shirt on. They're excited to represent something that's more than, just recycling paper. They realize that, oh, now I get to participate in this coffee cart activity. And so it's really something that they look forward to. One of my biggest difficulties was kind of getting it started. It seems so big and scary to start a school-based enterprise. You don't really know, where's the money going to come from? People are always asking, how can I do this when my classroom funding is maybe not as great as we would love it to be? So the first thing that I did was start a Donors Choose. I've had a lot of success with Donors Choose. I am able to share that information. So I have 14 students in my class, and I'm able to share the link for the Donors Choose with the parents. And I ask the parents to share that with other people. So I have students who have families that aren't near here. A lot of my students come from New York and New Jersey area. So they share it with them, and those, further away relatives really are excited and they want to donate. They want to help, these students gain their independence. And so that's how we very first got started. So on the Donors Choose, I put everything we needed: the coffee maker, the coffee, the filters, everything that we needed to have our first day of doing Java Jaws. Everything that we made goes back into our same account, and that's just the account that we keep using to fund whatever we need. So when we run out of something, that's the account that we pull it from. And I never felt alone when I was starting Java Jaws because I used the school resources that we have here. So I started off with the occupational certificate program. That's one step above. They're still self-contained special ed, but they're more mild to moderate intellectual disabilities. And they work on some different school-based things. They have a school-based enterprise where they kind of craft things. They make t-shirts and things like that. So they made our Java Jaws shirt. So it felt great that we were giving them a project to do while we were also benefiting from having them right here at our school. And then I asked the CTE program to help us. They have an entrepreneurial management class. They helped us make posters. They helped us market for Java Jaws. That teacher also shared the donors choose, and her students shared the donors choose. So it really reached its maximum potential. And also our woodworking class. So this wasn't right away, but after some trial and error, we had a cart for our classroom, but when we were pushing the cart, the drinks cups were not stable. So we asked our woodworking class if they could make us like a little tray to put on our cart. And they were so excited to help us. So really it required assistance from so many people. And now we feel so supported as an enterprise in our school because all these other students and teachers also have a hand in Java Jaws. It's not just Miss Emily's self-contained class. It reaches far beyond that. So that was kind of how we got started and how we continue making money and using that money to refund ourselves. So for the order form, this took some trial and error as well, but I have a Google form where the teacher, I send a new link every week and it goes to the whole staff and they put their name, they choose their drink, they choose their creamer, sugar, everything that they want. And then Google Slides, you can actually, Google Forms, you can actually put it right into a Google Sheet, which then helps the students organize the information so that we're making sure we're not missing an order, making sure we're getting everything correct. So Java Jaws has 6 different jobs that the students do, and they rotate. So the first job for Java Jaws is the manager, and everybody wants to be the manager. Being the manager is just like the most exciting job that you could have because they're kind of in charge. However, we also had to learn that when we are in charge, we still need to be kind to others. We need to lead with kindness and not get too crazy with having a little bit of power. So the manager keeps everybody on task. They organize all of the orders as they're coming through on the Google Slides, and they check the orders once the orders are complete. So they're kind of overseeing everything. And as my students have done Java Jaws for a couple years, if the manager is a student who's a little bit older and more experienced with Java Jaws, then I can really take a step back and not be super involved in the whole process, because the whole point is that the students are really running everything and doing everything on their own. So our next job is the scribe, and that person writes the recipient's name and room number on a little sticker and sticks it to the coffee cup. That just kind of keeps us organized and keeps us flowing. They check it off, and the manager checks that all the cups, the correct amount of orders matches the amount of cups that we have. We also have the delivery person who finds the best route for the delivery around the school. They can read a map of the school. They knock on the classroom door, and they have positive social interactions with the recipient. They make sure to say thank you. If this person is a repeat orderer, which we have a lot of people who order every week, they'll ask, did you like your coffee last week? Is there anything we can do better? Do you have any suggestions? And we've learned to kind of take constructive criticism. I had to tell the teachers, it's okay, you can be honest. You know, we want to know what we can do better. And we need to learn how to take constructive criticism, because when we're on a job site, we're going to get constructive criticism, and it's okay. It's not because we're doing a bad job, but we can always be better. Then our next job is the banker. So the banker handles all things money related. They take the money when delivering the coffee. They make change for the teachers if that's necessary. A lot of my students making change is an IEP goal for them, especially as they're getting older, getting ready to age out of the program. So that's really nice for me because I can use real life data when I'm taking data on that goal, not just a simulation in the classroom. So I think it's a lot more accurate for what, the purpose of the goal is. Also, they count the total amount of money and fill out all the forms for the bookkeeper. So every Friday after we do it, we have to hand in the form and all the money to the bookkeeper. So their job is to fill out the form, gather all the money, put it in order, and go independently to the bookkeeper and hand in the money. So then the last job, barista. So the barista is the person who is making the coffee. They read the coffee cup, they read the sticker, they see what the order is, and they are working the Keurig machine. We also have a regular coffee machine because we've gotten so many orders that we have to have regular coffee going the same time as the Keurig. Otherwise, we can't deliver all in one block. So we've got two different machines going on. The barista's got a lot going on, but the manager's always there to help them if they get behind or they need some assistance. And they're also the one putting the cream and the sugar and the Splenda and reading that order. And now our last job is the stocker. So the stocker kind of goes in after the coffee is made for the day, and they restock the K-cups, the coffee, the lids, all the materials. They organize anything if, things have gotten chaotic. If we have, 20 something orders, sometimes K-cups are flying everywhere. So they reorganize everything, and they also will write down any stock that might be running low. So maybe we need more chai latte K-cups. So there's a little form in their station in my classroom where they can check the things that we might need to order more of to let me know to put in a purchase request with the bookkeeper to get those items because we don't want to run out of anything. So some different skills that they learn from this task, there's so many. So this is not a comprehensive list, but they learn how to take on leadership positions, how to politely help other people. We're working on sequencing because we're putting the Google Forms in order, the Google Sheets in order. We're also putting the drink cups in order. We are also putting the cups, once the drinks are made, putting them in order of where the classrooms are in the building so that we don't have to double back. We have a really big high school, so we are, we don't want to be going up and down the elevator with our cart. So we are finding the best route that we can take. We are reading the stickers. We're working on, again, on gross and fine motor skills, especially with the barista and the delivery person having PT and OT come in, the delivery person having speech come in. If we're working on those social goals, they really love to see how the student's doing in a functional, setting, not just in a small group in the speech room. This is, real life. They're practicing talking to somebody that they're unfamiliar with. So again, I cannot stress enough how important and helpful it is as a team to be involved in the school-based enterprise. We're working on reading comprehension. We're working on hygiene, so many hygiene conversations. We've talked about how we have to have our hands clean when we're touching drinks or touching food, and also, all those awkward conversations like, underneath our nails can't be dirty when we're handing somebody a drink or food. That doesn't look good. It makes people are not going to want to continue ordering if we if we have stains all over our shirts, or if we didn't put on deodorant that day, we go into those awkward hygiene talks also. So, but they're important. And, filling out the forms for the bookkeeper is a huge, huge task. And they get better and better at it as time goes on. At first, it's a form I didn't create, the bookkeeper created it, and other teachers fill it out. So it can look like a lot, but once we kind of break it apart, we make highlights on it to make it easier for the students to read. And then eventually we don't have to do that anymore. And we can always be better. So I just wanted to mention that something that I would like to work on with Java Jaws is a little more teaching my students some data analysis, like our efficiency. So how many orders did we have and how long did it take us to do that? Did we have to double back into any hallways? Also trends. So, usually more people order chai lattes than mocha lattes. So maybe next time we need to double up our order on chai lattes. That's something that I would like to put into effect in the future. So I'm still working on making Java Jaws better all the time. Here's some pictures of my students. Oh, I forgot to mention, this year we just started adding a snack in with our Java Jaws. So we, every week we change it up. At this picture, we were making pancakes. So the drinks cost $3. And if you want to add whatever food we're making that week, it's an extra $2. So potentially $5 for a nice little breakfast and a beverage. We have made things like pancakes. We've also made egg and sausage casserole. And again, all the money for those grocery items comes from our, budget within Java Jaws, and all the money we make goes back into that. So it's just kind of a revolving door in that bank account. And one of our work-based learning sites in the community is a grocery store. So as a class team, we make a list of what we need, and those students who are going out to work at the grocery store that week will gather the items so that we have them for Friday. That picture in the middle is some of my students delivering. That's our cart, and you can kind of see the little wooden thing that I was talking about that woodworking made for us to hold our cups up. And then that last picture, that student is the scribe. So he's writing on stickers for all of the different cups for the orders for that week. Okay, so after success in the school-based learning and the school-based enterprise, in our district, when a student turns 18, based on their employment goal and their IEP, they may be eligible to go to work-based learning. So before COVID, we had 6 different work-based learning sites. We had these 4, and then we also went to a golf course, which is very common here in coastal South Carolina. And we also went to a retirement community. So unfortunately, during COVID, both of those job sites could no longer work with us for, valid reasons. But right now we have 4 awesome community sites. A prerequisite to our work-based learning program is, like I said, success with school-based learning and Java Jaws, but also success with the project discovery kits. So project discovery is amazing because there's essentially no prep work needed. It comes with all the plans, the vocab, the worksheets, video modeling, data sheets, which is the best for me, and all the materials that you need. So it provides that hands-on career exploration, and it even helps me think about, be more outside the box with different work sites that we could add to our list if certain students are interested in certain kits. So a few of the kits that we revisit a lot when we're deciding if a student is eligible for work-based learning are grocery clerking, food service, cleaning, maintenance, and health and nutrition. So once we decide that a student is eligible to go out to work for work-based learning, we go 2 days a week for about an hour, and we just rotate between all 4 sites. So our first site is a car wash, which is a little different as far as the job site. But it has been so successful for us, and my students absolutely love it. Now, we are lucky that we live in South Carolina, and it's pretty nice most of the year because we are outside a lot at the car wash. At the car wash, we do a lot of washing and folding laundry. We collect the towels from the bins that are placed around the job site, and we wash the towels, and then that's the very first thing that we do. And then when we're about to wrap up our session, we go back and fold the towels as our last activity. So we have done a whole load of laundry and folded it before we've left the car wash. We refill the all-purpose cleaner and the glass cleaner as needed. We walk around with our reflective vests and we hand out air fresheners. And a lot of times, since we have our reflective vests on, that's just for safety because there's a lot of cars in and out. Oftentimes customers will ask us for help or ask us if they need something, if they need more towels or more cleaner. So they're getting that customer service interaction with people in our community, which is not only amazing for my students, but it's amazing for the people in the community. It really just warms my heart to see my students being independent, communicating with somebody that they're not familiar with. And a lot of times people will tell me that it has just made their day to receive an air freshener from one of my students. So another thing that we work on is proficiency with the car wash equipment. So the hoses and the vacuum, some of my students have learned how to clean out the vacuum, clean out the hoses if they get clogged, and the customers will let us know if they need help, and we also go around and test them while we're there. And like I said, communication. So communicating with the customers, but also with the employees at the car wash. We don't always see the same people when we're there. And I encourage my students to ask the manager a question. I'm always there for them, but especially as they're getting older and closer to aging out of the program, if they say, hey, there's no more all-purpose cleaner to pour into this bottle, I tell them to go ask the manager. So they're building a relationship with the manager as well, which has proven to be successful in our community. A lot of my students have either gotten internships or paid employment after high school at our job sites. So another work site that we go to is the grocery store. So we work on stocking, we stock the shelves, we fix the merchandise that's on the shelves. My students have learned a ton about food safety at the grocery store. We help in the deli and the bakery. So we're wearing gloves and caps, and we're washing our hands, and we're washing our arms. We know that if we lean over and part of our shirt touches a pastry, that now has to be thrown in the trash. So we need to be really careful because we don't want to waste inventory. We assemble boxes for the bakery items. We put labels on it and price reduction stickers on different things around the grocery store. My students who are 18 and over have been practicing using the box crushing machine, which they love. They feel like it gives them so much power to push that little button and it crushes all the boxes. And also getting carts from the parking lot. So that's another activity where we wear our little reflective vests and we get the carts from the cart stations that are spread around the parking lot and bring them back into the building. So usually during these activities, it's 1 or 2 special ed teachers and 1 or 2 paraprofessionals. We kind of split up and do different activities at the same time and maybe rotate depending on, what the grocery store is needing that day. So my personal favorite work site is Help for Kids. We also call it Backpack Buddies, and they provide food for students on the weekends. So teachers and school administrators help identify children that are in need. And like Joyce was saying, our district is huge. So this nonprofit is very, very busy, packing food and organizing materials to send home every Friday with all of the kids in the county that need to bring food home with them for the weekend. They also fill backpacks with school supplies in the beginning of the school year. They supply clothing, a week's worth of clothing to students in need, hygiene products, and on the occasion that we have cold weather, they provide them with winter coats, hats, gloves, and things like that. So not only do my students love going there because they've made amazing relationships with the other volunteers there, but also we feel like we're doing something beneficial for ourselves and for the community. So it's, you know, a mutual feeling of just happiness that we are able to help. And we're also learning these imperative skills while we're doing it. So it's really special to see my students working there. And some different things that we do there is that we open boxes. So they usually order cases of food. So we might open a case of Pop-Tarts, organize them into a crate, which you'll see in a picture that I have coming up. And we organize the food into crates so that it takes up less space. And when we're packing the bags for the students, it's easier to just grab one thing, kind of like an assembly line. We also recycle the cardboard boxes, we flatten the boxes, and packing the materials into the bag is one of the hardest skills. So we have like a little clear container that is the same size as the bags, and we play around with the different items. So maybe that week we're packing, you know, a can, a thing of Pop-Tarts. We figure out how we can fit it in the bag to where the bag isn't going to rip and it's not overflowing, but we've packed everything that we need to inside of it. So then our last work site is a hotel, which is also very prevalent in our area. Myrtle Beach has tons and tons of hotels. Horry County is a very highly visited tourist destination. So this is a really helpful skill for my students because there's a lot of opportunities in our area to get a job doing something in a hotel. So at our hotel, we usually arrive right as breakfast is ending. We are cleaning the breakfast area, dusting, sweeping, mopping, wiping down tables, taking out the trash, making that area really nice. The cleaning and maintenance project discovery kit was really helpful with teaching my students those skills at school so that they can transfer them into the community. Seeing the stimuli, so, you know, if there's a piece of oatmeal, making sure that you get it all clean. So we practice those things at school. I've even put glitter on a desk and said, you know, you need to keep wiping it so you don't see any of that anymore. So project discovery was imperative for our hotel work site. Another thing we do is strip the bed. So my students will go to different rooms if there's guests checking out while we're there, and they assist the housekeeper with the beds, cleaning the bathrooms, kind of learning the hotel standards, which every hotel does things a different way, but they complete the same tasks. So it's important for my students to know how to do that. We also help with the laundry, huge laundry machines. They've really helped us. The students have created awesome relationships with the managers, with the housekeepers, and they're always under supervision of a teacher or a paraprofessional. We never would let the students go into the rooms alone, and they make sure they're all good to go and clean. So all of these skills that we learn at these 4 job sites don't necessarily, you know, put my students in a box that you can only work at a car wash or a grocery store or a hotel. They're all transferable skills. My students graduate with an attendance certificate, but they can have letters of recommendation from all of these employers who have seen them work for years. And they build a relationship with these businesses. Some of my students do internships. My students last year with me, they will work at least 40 hours throughout the course of the year so that they're considered college and career ready. So even though they're only graduating with an attendance certificate for high school, they are considered college and career ready by the time they're finished with our program, which I think is amazing because we can give them something more than just a certificate that says, yeah, you went to high school. It's so much more than that. And everyone who works with students knows that it really is meaningful. So through work-based learning, the students learn about different career areas, they try different work styles, they figure out what type of work they enjoy, They discover how they learn in a job setting, because learning out in the community in a job setting is very different from learning at school. They find out what natural supports are available in these different job sites, and they learn to advocate for themselves. So that's another huge aspect of work-based learning is the teacher or the paraprofessional that's there encouraging the students and supporting them and advocating for themselves. And once the student realizes, I can do this independently, you just see them just take off. And eventually they don't come to us first anymore. They go to the manager at the job site and they're able to ask them, like, I need this, I don't know where this is, or I need somebody to help me with the trash, or I need somebody to help me crush these boxes. Is it okay if I go ahead and crush the boxes in the box crushing machine? So work-based learning is imperative and amazing for career readiness. And all of these things tie together. So we're not just doing this just to check a box. It is important. These students rely on gaining these skills while they're in high school so that they can be successful in their post-secondary outcomes. The students that participate in work-based learning learn about their preferences, advocate for themselves, explore career options, and I think everybody's goal for these students is competitive employment. Being respected in a workplace where they're making the same wage as somebody doing the same job as them is really my number one goal for my students. So data. When we are at a job site, of course, everything is about data. You have to have data to back it up. So we use the data that we gather at our work-based learning sites to create appropriate post-secondary goals. We have conversations as an IEP team. I ask the physical therapist, the occupational therapist, the speech therapist, what do you think? Ask so many conversations with the students and the students' parents about what do you like, what do you not like? And those, again, we're working on those advocating skills. So really when we come together as a team, it can be 100% productive. Everybody's in the loop. And sometimes I use something as simple as a yes-no chart. I will just write down all of the skills at a certain job site. And yes, the student can do it independently, or no, they can't. And then I will note the level of independence or what they needed prompting wise. So maybe they needed a verbal prompt for that task. And then we can sit down at the IP table and say, these are the things we need to work on. Let's make goals out of it. One example of that is a bank register goal. So a couple of my students, when they are doing Java Jaws, we work on keeping track of what's in our account. And so it can be a whole group activity or a small group activity. We use the information from the banker and the bookkeeper forms to track the goal. So we're working on this skill daily for these students who need to learn how to keep track of a bank account. And then when I am taking data on their IEP goal, I can make sure they're the banker, and I can use that real life, not simulated information to really get appropriate and important data. And some other examples of goals that you can make from this is calculating and making change, social goals, all the related service provider things. I, again, can't emphasize that enough. That has really changed the game when we're sitting at the IP table to really make everybody feel like they have a say, what they have to say is important, and how can we picture the whole child, not just in the classroom, not just in the speech room, but really functionally, how can we make this kid successful? So we just have more meaningful and refined post-school considerations with all the information that we can gather from all these different activities. And then finally, I just have some pictures for you guys because I love to brag on my kiddos. That first picture there is a couple of my kids at the grocery store. I believe in that picture, they were gathering the items that we needed to make our little snack that goes with Java Jaws that week. And then in that middle picture there is a grocery store employee assisting one of my students in checking somebody out. So, that particular student had done clerking with the project discovery, and it was something that he was interested in. He loved it. He loved to learn how to pack the bags. So this employee kind of took him under her wing and helped him. This is how you scan the items. This is, the bag for the cold stuff and the pantry items. So it's just really cool to see those relationships building far beyond just school employees. And the third picture there is at the car wash, my students dumping the dirty towels so that we can go wash them. And then we have a couple pictures at the hotel. So that first picture is my student stocking condiments at the breakfast bar. And that second picture is the hotel manager with one of my students. That day he offered him an internship in working at the breakfast bar. So you could see the big smiles on both of their faces. They were super excited. And then that final picture there is working at the Help for Kids, the backpack buddies. So you can see the one student opening the box, and the student that's next to her is kind of organizing the materials in the crate. And that's where they pull all the food from, is the different crates that the kids make.
Awesome.
Yay.
Holy moly. Oh, my video wasn't
Way
working.
to go, Emily. That's so awesome.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you.
you covered so much information.
It was a lot.
It was
Really,
wonderful.
it was
It was
wonderful.
so good. So
And
we have
at
go
first
ahead.
I said, boy, I learned that there's chai latte K-cups. I didn't know that, but then I realized when I was looking and I saw the differentiation in those job types that they were practicing at school were really correlated to what they needed to do on the site at those job sites too. So like the stalker, to make sure things were stocked correctly and everything else like that. That's connecting the dots. Practice it at school first in that least threatening environment, and then go and do it on the job. Awesome. I guess some of the questions that I had, and Michelle, you were gathering questions from people. You want to start with some of those from the attendees?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I wanted to address is somebody at the beginning was asking if they would get a copy of the slide deck or handout or something like that. I just wanted to let you all know that we always send a recording out to all registrants and attendees. So whether you attended or not, you will get an email in a couple of days with a link to the recording, excuse me, and it'll have everything, on there, like the recording and all the information and stuff. So you will have that, but a lot of times people still want the copy of the slide deck. If that is the case, I'll enter my email in the chat, and you can, or actually, never mind, it's right there on the screen, Michelle Magram. So you can email me, and I'm happy to send that to you. So that's one thing I just wanted to mention. Another question that we got: how many days a week do your students do work-based learning, either in school or in the community?
So we do community work-based learning 2 days a week, and it's in the morning, and we're usually gone for an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the job site. Especially like in the off season, the hotel, maybe we only spend an hour because they don't have as many people staying there. But now that spring's ramping up, we'll stay there as long as we can. So it depends, but in the community, 2 days a week. Java Jaws is one half day. Every Friday, the Friday morning, that's what we're doing. And then also the recycling is 2 days a week for 1 hour. So kind of every day of the week, we're doing something, whether it's at school or in the community.
Oh, that's a really good question. Thanks
Yeah.
to the audience member who asked about that, because it does put it in context of how you actually manage this on a full, week by week basis. So, and how often again did you say out in the community, the work-based learning?
2 days a week.
2 days. Nice. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
So our next question: how do you manage work-based learning agreements and track hours?
Okay, so since we are a huge district, we have a work-based learning coordinator at the district office. So I didn't have to create any liability paperwork. And of course, there's liability paperwork and insurance paperwork. So each student that goes to work has basically a whole packet for each job site, and they have to sign it. I have to sign it. The job site coordinator, whether that be the manager or somebody higher up. We've even had people in other states, if it's like a big name, kind of like Food Lion or Publix, sign that document, and we're all agreeing on, it's very long, but it's like insurance things and all that. So I was lucky I didn't have to come up with that because we have a work-based learning coordinator.
Awesome. Okay, this is a really good question. So how do you schedule in-class time using the project discovery kits that you mentioned? Is it done over multiple days, weeks, and months? I am a specialist that typically pushes into classrooms once a month. So would it be better for the classroom teacher to teach the kits?
That is a great question. So the way that we do it for our functional program is we have tons of kits and we rotate them monthly. So we kind of use them as units. And so I'll have cleaning and maintenance for a month, and then we pass those materials on. I think you definitely wouldn't be able to even scrape the surface of just doing a kit for one day, but I think as long as the teacher can hold on to a kit, and there's so many materials and lessons, and of course repetition is key with these things as well. So being able to revisit it every day is really helpful. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of materials in there as you go on through, and a lot of that data that you were talking about, data collection and everything. It really does begin even right within the kits, because there's a lot of data collection involved there as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Michelle, do you have anything else you want to?
Well, we do have plenty of other questions. Unfortunately, it's almost 3:00. So what I'm thinking is, if you guys have additional questions and stuff that you really want answered, again, please feel free to email me at my email address there. And I'm happy to pass on any questions to Emily so she can kind of get those answered. I know, Emily, your email is on there too. If you feel comfortable with people reaching out to you, you can reach out directly to her. So,
feel free to reach out to me, any question, anytime. I'm more than happy to share any documents or anything that I have that can be helpful to anybody.
Oh, that's so great. We are so appreciative. We just want to thank you so much, Emily. I mean, there was a lot of great things going on there, and I'm just glad to see, that Horry County is leading the way. And, just even little things like looking at your community and saying, yeah, we've got a lot of hotels. We should prepare kids for things that are right in our backyard. I think that's like one of the big tips that we always try and pass on. Look in your own backyard and see what you can prepare students for. That would be local, right? Because parents will want to keep them local.
Yeah.
For sure. And I'm not going to belabor any of the other pieces. I'm going to say, go check out our newly redesigned website. It's awesome. It's easy to find things on there, including our webinar Wednesdays archive. So you can go on through, this is like a little scrolling bar that you can go on through and catch any of the webinars that we've done since June of 2020. It's been a long time we've been doing these. And, just another kind of a feather in the cap for the folks at Education Associates that, pick something like this and just say, we're going to stick with it and let lots of people share as they go along. But there's tons of information. So if you want to get a preview packet and see what things actually look like and see it and hear it for yourself, go look for this. There's information on funding. So if you can't figure out how you might fund it, take a look. There's free downloads that will go over all of the major types of funding sources and how you actually can align transition and job and life readiness to those funding sources. And if you still have questions, take a look for our on-demand Zoom options. And that's where you will end up with somebody who covers your area, and they will be able to go on in and help you better understand how this might work for you and how you can take advantage of it. It's very much a personalized thing. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of directors who will sign up for one of these personal tours during their team meeting, so that they might have the tour for a bit of the team meeting, and then they'll sit and discuss afterwards amongst themselves how they would use it. I just thought that's kind of a bright thing to do. With that having been said, just a thanks again, not only to Emily, but to every one of you who chose to spend some part of your day here with us today. We really appreciate you and all you do for the students and our very special students in your schools. And we hope you have a great day. Happy March 1.
Yay. Thank you so much, everybody.
Very good.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much. See you next one.
Have a great day. All right. Take care. Great job, Emily.
Thank you.
Awesome. And let's see if I have so many screens open now, not even funny. All right, I'm going to close this out. It was a great job. We had, at the high point, I saw like 89 people on there. Out of
Awesome.
600 who registered. So pretty cool.
Great. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, bye.
Bye.